Well, hello. You find me at Cox's Mill Pond in Addlestone. If you don't know where this is, you should check it out. It's a bit of a beauty spot in Addlestone. It's at the end of Bourneside Road. Yeah, if you haven't been there, go and check it out. Now, I'll say more about this place in a minute, but I want to talk to you today about following. Now, following is a bit of a thing nowadays. You know, you will hear people say something like, "Oh, how did you find out about that?" And they'll say something like, "Oh, I saw it on something I follow on Facebook or something I follow on Twitter." And I'll say to you right now, if you want to hear more messages like this, then follow our Facebook page, and you'll find more messages like this as you do. But following isn't just a social media thing. You know, people have always followed things or people. You know, we follow our friends and their news. We follow world events. We follow trends. We follow teams. We follow bands. We all follow something or someone. And, you know, the things that we follow, they influence us and they shape us. They form who we are. They direct and just show us the way we go. Now, the Bible tells of a time when Jesus was walking along the side of the Sea of Galilee, and he comes across some fishermen. Now, I couldn't transport myself to the Sea of Galilee to get some video footage, so that's why we're here at Cox's Lock. But the mill pond here. But you see, you often see, if you walk here, fishermen here, as well as dog walkers and cyclists and obviously ducks. But the ducks and the dog walkers and cyclists, they don't really feature in the Bible story. So we'll stick with the fishermen. Now, the difference with the fishermen that Jesus saw and the fishermen that you might see here at the mill pond is that it was the fisherman's job. That Jesus came across. That was their livelihood. They were fishermen professionally, if you like. You know, that was the way they supported their family and probably their community. It wasn't a hobby or a relaxing pastime. This was serious business for them. And no doubt they were following, as fishermen, those who'd gone before them. Maybe their father had been a fisherman, or their uncle had been a fisherman, or their great uncle or their grandfather had been a fisherman. And you know, that's probably the obvious path for them. That's what people did before them, and that's where they were going to go. So these fishermen, they're right in the middle of their job, they're right in the middle of their work. In fact, they've just cast their nets into the lake, and along strolls Jesus. And he says to them, "Come, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Now, that's a big ask. That's not Jesus coming along and saying, "Just click my follow button and you'll receive updates of my latest miracles and healings and sermons," or follow my Jesus fan page and receive a 2-minute parable and an easy to understand explanation every day. No, this was Jesus saying, leave what you're doing and literally follow me. Go where I'm going. Do what I'm doing. Live the way I live. Experience what I experience. Follow me. It's a full-on following. It's a big ask for fishermen who've just cast their nets into the water, waiting to catch their fish, which would have been no doubt their day or their week's wages. It was a call to leave that whole life behind and walk off with Jesus. And astonishingly, they do. They follow him, and they straight away leave their nets and follow him. Now that's just something quite astonishing. So there was something about Jesus' call that called them to follow him that was so attractive that made them leave their job and their gear. I mean, leaving your fishing nets is a big deal. I know as a musician that leaving just my gear behind would have been painful, torturous to me. But they did all that and they followed him. And so listen to what Jesus says. He says, "Come, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." It's a call to follow that will make these men more than they already are. Notice Jesus doesn't alter these men's core identity. They are fishers, and they always will be, but he invites them to follow and become more than they are. Not just fishers, but fishers of men. Now, they would never have been fishers of men without following Jesus, just fishers. They would have never imagined that they could be more than they were, just simple fishermen. But following Jesus suddenly opens up a new way of life, a new world of opportunities and possibilities. And following Jesus opened the way for these men to be the greatest them that they could be. And it's the same for us. Jesus calls us to follow him. And in doing so, he invites us to follow a way that will make us the best us that we can be. You know, in following Jesus, you aren't expected to lose your identity. Rather, actually, we find a new life and we find a true identity in him. You see, some people, for some reason, think that becoming a Christian is rather dull and a little bit boring, and you become a sort of a clone of others, and it's all a bit dull. You know, you become like a nice person, but rather featureless, or you become a good person, but a little bit boring. But nothing could be further from the truth. Following Jesus opens up our eyes to things that we would otherwise not have dreamed of. The real us is born again through him. And so following Jesus empowers us to be the person we had no ability to be ourselves. And I know so many people who live full and rich lives simply through following Jesus. And let me be honest with you for a second. You know, none of us are the best we can be. If we're real with ourselves, we know we aren't perfect. There's always room for improvement. You know, none of us, I would imagine, lie down at night and say, well, I completely nailed being a parent today. You know, or none of us lie down at night and say, no, it's now 20 years since I last put my foot in my mouth or made a complete fool of myself. None of us are able to make ourselves the best us that we can be. And so Jesus calls us and he says, come, follow me, and effectively I will make you the best you can be. Come and start that journey. Come and continue that journey. Walk in my ways, he says. Follow in my paths, he says. Live as I live. And as you do, the you that God intended, that you will start to grow. And you've no idea how great that is. The Bible says no eye has seen and no ear has heard and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love him. So follow Jesus and you will become the true person God made you to be. Your passions will be refined and reordered in a way you couldn't have imagined. Your expectations will grow and go beyond the horizon of your vision. Your understanding and of your significance and importance in the world will grow, and you will grow into the best you can be. So come, says Jesus, follow me. Let's go on a journey together. Now, if you want to know more about how to follow Jesus, then send me a message now. You can do that through Facebook or through YouTube or through our website. Regardless of whether you count yourself as a Christian or not, if you want to live this new life and a full life, then make the step in responding to Jesus and getting in touch now and saying, yeah, I want to follow him. And let's take those first few steps together. Or perhaps you've already been on the road with Jesus and you need a little bit of encouragement or refreshing. Well, then get in touch. Whether you're in the King's Church or not, get in touch, because Jesus says to you, come, follow me.